Okay, so picture this. You walk into a dealership, you're ready to buy a work ute, you've done a little bit of research, you think you know what you want, and then 3 months later, you're sitting in your driveway, wondering why your monthly payments feel like a second mortgage, and your ute can't even handle a full load without groaning like it's about to give up on life. That is not a hypothetical. That happened to real people. And today, we are going to make sure it does not happen to you. Welcome back to the Drive Intel. And in this video, we took 5 of the most popular work utes in Australia. We put them side by side. And one of them is quietly draining people's wallets while looking completely normal on paper. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which ute is worth every cent and which one is honestly a trap dressed up in chrome and marketing. And hey, if you're new here, welcome to the Drive Intel. We do the deep research so you don't have to. Hit that like button right now and subscribe, because we drop content like this every single week, and you do not want to miss what's coming next. All right, let's get into it. Now, when we talk about work utes in Australia, we are talking about one of the most competitive vehicle segments on the planet. Australians love their utes. That is not a stereotype. That is a fact written in sales data. The ute market here is absolutely massive, and every major manufacturer knows it, which is why they are all fighting hard for your money. But fighting hard for your money does not always mean giving you the best value. Sometimes it means giving you the best looking package at the worst long-term cost. So for this comparison, we looked at 5 utes that are genuinely popular with tradies, small business owners, and everyday Australians who need a vehicle that works as hard as they do. The 5 we are comparing are the Ford Ranger, the Toyota HiLux, the Mitsubishi Triton, the Isuzu D-Max, and the Volkswagen Amarok. Now these are not random picks. These are the 5 utes that consistently show up in bestseller lists, tradie forums, and dealer showrooms all across the country. We compared them across several key areas: purchase price, running costs, towing and payload capacity, reliability data, resale value, and total cost of ownership over 5 years. Because here is the thing, the price tag at the dealership is only the beginning of the story. The real cost of owning a work ute is what happens after you drive it off the lot. Let's start with the Toyota HiLux, because this is the one everyone defaults to, and honestly, there is a reason for that. The HiLux has been Australia's best-selling vehicle for years. Not just best-selling ute, best-selling vehicle, full stop. The base SR model starts around $47,000 before on-road costs, and the SR5 and Rogue models climb well into the $60,000 and $70,000 range. Now on the surface, that sounds steep, but here is where the HiLux makes its case. Reliability data from independent sources and owner surveys consistently shows the HiLux at the top of the pack. Service intervals are every 10,000 kilometers, and while servicing is not the cheapest, you're looking at around $300 to $500 a service, depending on the dealer. The parts are everywhere. The mechanics know these things inside and out, and breakdowns are genuinely rare. The HiLux also holds its resale value better than almost anything else in the segment. After 5 years, a well-maintained HiLux can still return 60 to 70% of its purchase price in some cases. That is extraordinary for a vehicle that has been used hard. Towing capacity sits at 3.5 tons for the 4-wheel drive diesel variants, and payload is around 1,000 kilograms. It is not the most powerful, it is not the flashiest, but the HiLux is the definition of a long-term investment that pays you back. Now, let's talk about the Ford Ranger, because this one is genuinely impressive, and it has been nipping at the HiLux's heels for years in the sales charts. The Ranger starts at around $44,000 for the XL and goes all the way up past $75,000 for the Raptor. The sweet spot for most tradies is the XLS or XLT double cab, sitting in the $50,000 to $60,000 range. The Ranger's biggest selling point is its technology and comfort. For a work ute, the inside of a Ranger feels surprisingly modern. Big touchscreen, decent driver assistance features, and a ride quality that does not feel like you are being punished for choosing a practical vehicle. The 2.0-liter biturbo diesel is smooth and efficient, returning around 7 to 8 liters per 100 kilometers in real-world conditions, which is solid for this class. Towing capacity is 3.5 tons, payload around 900 to 1,000 kilograms depending on the variant. Servicing costs are competitive, and Ford's dealer network in Australia is wide. Resale value is strong, but generally sits a notch below the HiLux. You are looking at around 55 to 65% after 5 years. Overall, the Ranger is a well-rounded package, and for many people, it genuinely is the better daily drive, while still being capable enough on a worksite. The Isuzu D-Max is one that a lot of people overlook, and that is honestly a mistake. The D-Max starts at around $45,000 and tops out around $65,000 for the X-Terrain variant. Now, what makes the D-Max stand out is its payload capacity. This thing can carry up to 1,025 kilograms, which is among the best in the segment. If you are carrying heavy gear, materials, or running a tray setup, that payload matters enormously. The D-Max also has a reputation for being incredibly straightforward to maintain. Isuzu as a brand is built on commercial vehicles, trucks, buses, heavy machinery, and that DNA flows into the D-Max. Service costs are generally lower than the HiLux and Ranger, parts are affordable, and the dealer network, while smaller, is growing. Reliability scores are excellent. The D-Max does not have the same brand prestige as the HiLux or the tech features of the Ranger, but if pure working capability and low running costs are your priority, this Ute is seriously worth your attention. Resale is decent, sitting around 50 to 60% after 5 years, and it tows up to 3.5 tons. It is the quiet achiever of this group. Now the Mitsubishi Triton. This one has had a complicated history. Earlier generations had some reliability concerns that gave it a bit of a mixed reputation, but the latest generation Triton, the one sitting in showrooms right now, is a genuinely different vehicle. Starting around $40,000 and topping out around $60,000, it is one of the more affordable entry points in this segment. The new Triton has improved significantly in terms of interior quality, ride comfort, and technology. It also has a towing capacity of 3.5 tons, which keeps it competitive. Servicing costs are reasonable, and Mitsubishi has a solid dealer network. However, and this is important, resale value on the Triton still lags behind the top three. You are looking at around 45 to 55% after 5 years, and in some cases less if the market softens. For buyers, on a tighter budget who need a capable Ute without paying HiLux prices, the Triton is worth considering. But go in with your eyes open about what you will get back when you sell. And now, the one you have been waiting for, the Volkswagen Amarok. And listen, we need to talk about this honestly because the Amarok is genuinely a beautiful vehicle. It looks incredible. It drives like a European SUV. The interior is premium, the tech is top shelf, and getting behind the wheel of an Amarok feels special in a way that no other Ute in this list quite matches. The V6 TDI version is genuinely thrilling to drive. But here is where the money trap conversation starts. The Amarok starts at around $60,000 and climbs to over $90,000 for fully loaded variants. That is a massive ask. And the purchase price is only part of the problem. Servicing the Amarok is significantly more expensive than its Japanese competitors. We are talking $500 to over $1,000 per service in some cases. Parts are more expensive, the dealer network is smaller and more spread out, and wait times for parts can be longer if something goes wrong out in the field or in a regional area. Resale value, while improving with the new generation, still does not match the HiLux. After 5 years, you are typically looking at 45 to 55% return, and for a vehicle that cost you $90,000 up front, that depreciation hits hard. Towing capacity is impressive at 3.5 tons, and the payload sits at around 900 kilograms, which is fine but not class-leading. Now here's the thing. If you are buying the Amarok as a company vehicle, you have budget flexibility, and you want something that impresses clients and drives beautifully, it can make sense in the right context. But for the average tradie or small business owner who needs a reliable workhorse that does not bleed money over 5 years of ownership, the numbers simply do not add up the same way they do with the alternatives. The Amarok is the Ute that looks like a smart buy, but becomes a money trap for people who do not look beyond the showroom floor. So what does the 5-year total cost of ownership actually look like across all 5? When you add up purchase price, servicing, fuel, insurance estimates, and subtract the projected resale value, the picture becomes very clear. The HiLux and D-Max consistently come out as the best value over the long haul. The Ranger is close behind and arguably offers the best balance of value and daily livability. The Triton is competitive on upfront cost, but the resale gap narrows its advantage. And the Amarok, despite being a wonderful vehicle in many ways, costs significantly more to own over 5 years than any of the others when you do the full calculation. We are talking potentially $20,000 to $30,000 more in total cost, depending on the variant and how heavily it depreciates. Now here at the Drive Intel, we always say the same thing: buy for your actual use case. If you are doing heavy payload work and want low running costs, look at the D-Max very seriously. If you want the best resale value and bulletproof reliability, the HiLux is still the gold standard. If you want modern tech and a comfortable daily drive without sacrificing too much capability, the Ranger is an excellent choice. If budget is tight and you need something capable right now, the new Triton deserves a proper test drive. And if you genuinely love the Amarok and the numbers work for your situation, go for it. Just go in knowing the full picture. The biggest mistake people make when buying a work ute is falling in love with the vehicle in the showroom without thinking about year 2, year 3, year 4. Work utes are tools. And like any tool, the best one is not always the most expensive one or the prettiest one. It is the one that keeps working when you need it to, does not cost a fortune to maintain, and gives you back solid value when it is time to move on. We hope this breakdown helped you cut through the noise and see the real numbers. If you found this useful, please drop a comment below and tell us, which of these 5 Utes do you own or are considering buying right now? We genuinely read every comment, and we would love to hear from people who have real-world experience with any of these. And if you know someone who's about to buy a work ute and might be falling into the money trap we talked about today, please share this video with them. It could honestly save them thousands of dollars. Give it a like if you found the research helpful, and make sure you are subscribed to the Drive Intel so you never miss a video like this. We will see you in the next one.